What's going on, everyone? I'm Sage, bringing out the beast with the Feral Druid in the Shadowlands. This video is long overdue because of the holidays and some internet service provider issues that came up at the start of the new year. So without further delay, let's get into it. This video is going to go over a constant question that people have asked me, and that is, what am I using in my UI and how does it help me play Feral? I will be going over each of these add-ons that display a visual aid or modification, so if there is a specific add-on that you are interested, all sections will have timestamps for them. Starting this off, we are going to talk about Elvui. Elvui is probably one of the most popular total package add-ons that is available for players. By total package, I mean it is a cluster of several add-ons combined to make a full overhaul to every aspect of the player UI. I recently, on my UI update, going into the Shadowlands, switched back to Elvui. I have used it in the past, and the fact that there are so many aspects of the game that Elvui covers, if one thing breaks or has an error, you will get this error every time till it is fixed and updated, and sometimes in the past, this would cause me to have issues, and I had swapped to using individuals add-ons to compensate for what Elvui was breaking back then. Elvui has come a long way since then, and I do like several of the customizations that it brings. Going a little bit further into the Elvui that I have, I do not use Elvui's enemy nameplates or Elvui's group and raid frames. This isn't because they are bad, it is simply since I used individual add-ons before, I started using this cluster add-on of Elvui, and I got used to and liked the other add-ons that are being used. So visually, Elvui is controlling all of the blizzard frames and pop-ups such as NPC dialogue, boss frames, chats, bag panels, and my action bars as well. My player and enemy frames is also Elvui as well. So pretty much the base to all that you see on my screen is Elvui. When it comes to making a UI of your own, it is always a great idea to look at what others have created and then take what they've created and customize it further to fit what you yourself are comfortable with. For instance, I like having my action bars and abilities visible and a decent size as well. And I know that a lot of players like only having a weak aura cluster that tracks all of the abilities for them. Having your abilities on a weak aura and on your bars visibly is double information on the screen, and that is what you want to try to avoid when making a UI. However, I play all specs of Druid, and even though I have most of my abilities in the same keybinds and spots for consistency, there are a few that I change up per spec as well as some that I change up for PvP. And I like to see the ability. As you can see, when I toggle the anchors, there is a lot that this add-on handles, and I don't think all of it needs to be gone over individually. If there are any specific questions about certain aspects of the add-on, let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to give you that answer. Next up, an add-on that pretty much everyone runs nowadays is Details Damage Meter. This is the three windows that are in the lower right-hand section of the screen. Details is very accurate and will show you the damage numbers that Warcraft log shows, with a few exceptions that Warcraft logged has deemed as padding, so fake damage. Details allows you to see all aspects of what has occurred during a fight, and is essential in my opinion if you are looking to optimize performance in content. On my UI, I have three windows which you can add as many as you want, but I feel that for most content, having three works out well. 99% of the time, my top window will be damage done on the current fight, which shows damage and DPS during the fight. My second window shows healing done for the current fight, and my last window is the overall damage done for the entire encounter. The last window is mainly used in dungeons because overall damage in dungeons is more valuable than fight by fight. This add-on is very straightforward, but if there are any questions on how to look at certain abilities in the detail windows, feel free to ask me in the comments below. The next add-on that modifies my UI is Platter, which is a nameplate add-on that shows bleeds on the target's HP bar over their heads, as well as shows threat colors on the nameplates. This add-on is very clean and easy to customize. The only aspect of this add-on that I do change from just straight installing it is the range that it has to pick up enemy nameplates, because there are several close corridors where you have several nameplates that are on different floors or in a room that you are not in. By default, this is 100, and I personally changed that to half, so 50. Being able to see your bleeds on your targets is very important as a Feral Druid, so you know that you can gain the most damage, because placing a new rake on a target that does not have one on will do more damage than refreshing one that is already ticking on a target, and that applies to all bleeds. One quick shout out to this add-on is that during Spiteful, where ghost spawn from dead enemies and fixate a target as melee. If this add is on you, you need to know instantly so you can either stun it or you can get out of range of it. And Platter will change the nameplate to red if it is going after you, give you an additional indicator that the add is on you. This is part of the threat nameplate colors, where if you have aggro, the nameplate is red, and if it is blue, then you are good to go. Once again, if there are any questions about this add-on, let me know. Now moving on to some of the larger add-ons that will be used in groups and raids. First up is Vuhdo. Vuhdo is a group and raid frame add-on that allows you to customize not only the panels, but what buffs, debuffs, spells show up on them as well as give an easy way to have mouse over spells for the party frames. I currently have my party frames placed in the middle of my screen while in Mythic Plus, so I have all the information right where I want it, and when I'm in raid, it is placed above my chat window on the left hand side. Vuhdo allows you to create different profiles for the size of the group you are in, and it will load it automatically as the group fills up, which is a great way to set up everything you want to be automated. Vuhdo for Feral Druids allows you to gain a lot of ability and utility by using the mouse over spell system to use your regrowth easily, as well as our decurse, so that you can give that value in all forms of content. The placement is a little further from the center of the screen, and I like this because it frees up the view to make sure you are seeing all mechanics. However, from time to time, I do have the frame switched to vertical and on the left side of my screen, which makes it simpler to regrowth and decurse party members, because you should want to keep your cursor mid-screen so you can select specific targets if needed. The final add-on that I will go over is the strongest and most essential add-on in the game, and that is Weakauras. Weakauras allows players to create custom trackers and icons for pretty much anything in the game, which is what all other visual aids on my UI are. So jumping into this massive add-on, a great resource is Warcraft website that gives countless Weakauras for pretty much anything you can think of, instead of you having to learn to make the Weakaura yourself. Currently, the Druid Weakaura package that is in the middle of my screen is created by Maldraxxus. I only just started using his Weakauras on beta, and they are great for showing you all that you need to know for the most part. In the past, I know his aura for Feral Druids showed the amount of damage loss or gain from our snapshots, which are not present in this current build. However, the way we play as Feral currently is not necessarily needed anymore, because of the amount that we snap is much less. This Weakaura package is great though, and is not only for Feral, but for all specs of Druids, so once you set it up, you are 100% good for the character. There are 3 different imports for this Weakaura, so make sure you get them all. There will be a link to Luxo's Twitch and his Weakauras in the description below. In all of my videos that I've displayed this Weakaura, I have had his Twitch linked inside the description below, so any video of mine that you've seen thus far will have his link. A quick little plug-in here: if you don't want to use a Weakaura for your Druid package, there is an add-on called Dot Focus that will do very much the same. It used to be called Druid Focus, now it's called Dot Focus, and it does everything that you would want as well, and you can customize it. It's a very short packaged cluster of all the abilities, and it does also show you different snapshots for Feral Druid abilities as well. It's what I used to use before I started using the Weakaura packages. The next Weakaura that most ask about is the cooldowns that are attached to my Vuhdo. This is actually 2 Weakauras that you have to have in order for them to work, because one scans the data from the party and the other pretty much uses that data to make visual representation. These 2 are ZT Nagi's Party CD front end and Zen Tracker ZT. If you want the Weakaura to look exactly how I have them, then there are a few things that you will have to adjust in the Nagi's Party CD. So in order to do this, you have to go to the custom options, then make sure that the grow direction is top, and select force horizontal is checked, and then have your Y offset set to 30, which is 5 more than the drag bar goes. However, just inputting the 30 in there will get you to have the CDs above your party frames and the CDs growing to the right instead of going straight up. This is probably the most difficult to set up to get right the first time, and may need to change depending on how large or small your party frames are. So just adjust these settings as needed. The other Weakaura that I have on my screen is CT-AT-BL, which is a stat tracking Weakaura that you can see at the top of my screen. This is great to see how abilities affect your stats, such as the Quantum Device, which is extremely popular currently, which is random for most of the time as to which stat you can get from it, as well as shows how valuable certain abilities can be when used together, such as the Quantum Device proccing, U Mastery, and then using your Covenant ability with Naya in Night Fae to get Grove Invigoration with Naya's Soulbind, easily getting you over 100% mastery increase to our damage, where using bleeds and finisher is increased. And this could mean that you want to actively place more rakes on multi-target to get the value out of the mastery amp. I also use the weak aura called Cursor, which places a circle over my mouse. I like playing with high sensitivity on my mouse just because I always have, and this makes sure that I do not lose my cursor. In Mythic Plus, everyone should have Mythic Plus Timer, Weak Aura, or something similar because the Blizzard UI only shows so much information, and this helps massively. The last Weak Aura that most will see when I'm in a group is Mythic Plus Interrupt Tracker, which will show everyone in the group's CD on their interrupt after they use it the first time. Weak Auras are pretty much a full solve for anything that you can't see with the base UI. So make sure you look to this add-on if the question ever comes up, would this be easier if I could see when it is up? This is pretty much everything that you will see visually in my UI, and I hope that this answered most of the questions that people were asking, as well as helped you all out for creating or improving your UI. I will have as many of these add-ons and weak auras linked in the description, so if you want exactly what I'm using, check that out. As always, thank you all for the support for the channel. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, please like and subscribe to the channel. I am already working on the next video, which will be about the little things that can improve your Feral Druid gameplay, so stay tuned for that. Thank you all again, and I will see you all next time.